Hey guys, that's right. I'm everywhere, even lurking here inside your peerScholar activity, just waiting for you. Cool. Video is easier sometimes than writing long instructions, so I thought I would just give you the instructions by video. First thing to note, right at the very top of these instructions will be the name of your character. Make sure that's the name you think it is. That's the one we're assuming you're going to be, well, acting as, the role that you will be trying to play in this activity. So how do you actually go about doing this? I just want to give you a sense, because again, I love to give these really weird activities, and so there's not always a recipe that you know already about how to make this work the way you want it to work. So here's my advice. Whoever your character is, I would begin by learning as much as you can about that character, and learning what they're sort of most well known for. What are their theoretical, impacts. And so you can begin by thinking, what area do they work in, right? If they're a developmental psychologist, you're probably going to start thinking about the impact of COVID on kids. If they're a clinical psychologist, you're probably going to be something about mental health, right? If it's a cognitive psychologist, you could be worrying about memory or attention, all sorts of things. We have issues like, why aren't people wearing masks? Why do they follow rules? Why don't they follow rules? How should we message people so that they follow rules? So, take a look at, so begin by getting to know your character well. And then what I would say is try to look at some of the media coverage of the pandemic. What were the stories that were being covered during the pandemic? What were the major issues that were being talked about on the media centers? And what you really want to find is some point of connection. Something where this character connects with this issue, and that's probably what the character would want to speak to or speak about. I can think of some examples, but I don't want to give examples with the characters we have because I don't want to give away anything. I want you guys to figure stuff out. So let me take a character that we don't have. You'll notice the really big names. The Sigmund Freud is not in this list, nor is the B.F. Skinner. So let's take B.F. Skinner, for example. So what's B.F. Skinner known for? B.F. Skinner is known primarily for operant conditioning. The effect that consequences have in terms of shaping our behavior. And so with B.F. Skinner, what I would think about is, well, where have we wanted to shape people's behavior in the pandemic? Well, we've wanted to get people to do things like follow the rules or to get a vaccine. And so how might Skinner have recommended that we do this? If we want people to get a vaccine, might we set up some sort of reward structure? And in fact, I've heard of places in the States where they have a lottery. You get a vaccine and you get a chance of winning $1 million. There's some state that's doing that in the South. And so that's the kind of example where, maybe B.F. Skinner would be asked to comment on that. Is that a good idea to reward people for getting a vaccine? Okay, so those are the first two things I say. Get to know your person, get to know them well. Start looking at all the issues the pandemic covers and find that connection point. And that's what you're going to talk about, okay? So once you've figured that out, what am I going to talk about? Now what you really want to do is talk about it in a way that allows you to show your knowledge of your character, right? And so I've been asked already, how do you do that? Is it just this character talking for 3 minutes? It can be. Okay, we can imagine that character was given a spot on a television show or something like that and told to go ahead. What's your opinion? And so it could be just that character talking for 3 minutes or less. I'm going to come back to the audio thing in just a second. Or if you wish, you could sort of have a reporter as part of your scene, right? Because you're basically doing a scene here. So you could have a reporter ask questions, in which case it might be nice to have somebody else willing to play along with you while you're recording. So somebody else to actually ask you a question and then you answer that question and then could follow up with another question. So if you want to do it that way as a way of allowing your character to kind of, lay out the points they want to lay out, that's fine too. There's no right way to do the audio cast. And you can use your creativity. You can do whatever you think allows you to create an engaging thing, but again, that really allows you to show your understanding of the character you're playing. That's the important part, trying to make sure as much as you can, you tell us about that character and how they feel about this issue. Okay, last point that I hope, depending on when you watch this, if you watch this when I first opened this, when you picked your characters, we haven't talked about treble yet. We will very soon. I'll have a little interview with the treble guy that I'm going to share with everybody. But of course, eventually we're going to use treble to create these audio casts. And by the time you're getting close to having to submit something, well before that time, you will know what that means, how to use treble, and how to create that audio cast. So that's your goal, right? Create the audio cast, showing that you know your character, by doing something where this character is speaking to a COVID issue, and you can set that scene. You can do, imagine you are trying out for a role in a film, and so you're doing a scene as your tryout. You can create that scene to be whatever you want it to be. Cool. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Yeah. I'm just gonna leave it there. I won't quite leave it there. Let me just remind you of the grading key for this. So this is worth like 10 marks overall, right? And I think the way we did it was 3, 4, and 4. 2, 4, and 4. So one part is going to be based on how well you show your knowledge of your character here in this create phase, the thing you're creating now. But then, of course, in the assess phase, you're going to be reacting to what other characters wrote, and then you're going to be reacting in the reflect phase to their reaction to you. So I think it was 2 for the create and then 4, and in those latter 2 you want to show your knowledge of the character that you're interacting with as well. So that's the whole concept, but the TAs all through, that's what they're going to be looking for, is how well are you able to show that you know either your character in the create phase or the characters your character is interacting with in the subsequent phases. Okay, I'm going to shut up there, but hopefully that helps. Get into this, have some fun. This is your chance to be a star. Okay, I hope you do have some fun, and yeah, good. I will leave it there.